authorities will go to the Skype or FireRTC. They'll give them the record of the call. FireRTC or Skype will provide your IP address, and that call will be traced back to you. Hi everyone, welcome to tutorial 1 in the Scam Baiting 101 Basic Safe Scam Baiting series. Now, I'm making the emphasis entirely on safety. In this whole series of tutorials, safety is going to be the main thing. And one of the main things that we have to avoid is giving away information that could lead to finding our location or our name or something else. One of the biggest mistakes that beginners make is to use their home phone or their mobile phone to make scam baiting calls. The problem with this is that the scammers are readily able to find your number even if you try to block it. Now, your telephone provider will probably have given you a 3-digit code or some sort of code that you can put in front of the number you're calling, and it will show up as a withheld number or a number unavailable to the person you're calling. Now, if you're phoning someone in a normal phone, that's all very well and that works quite nicely. But the sophisticated phone systems that the scammers use bypass that block. So even if you're using your home phone and blocking the number, they'll still see what that number is. And the same goes for your mobile phone. Having a phone number is like having an address, because it's easy to use a reverse lookup directory, and within a few minutes the scammer has your name, your home address, and of course your phone number. I recently received an email from a lovely lady who had made that very mistake. She'd used her mobile phone and had been baiting a scammer for some time, and the scammer decided to take revenge. And what the scammer did was to post her mobile number in the Bad Numbers website and made a comment that this lady had been phoning young children. Of course, she was absolutely devastated, and I did what I could to help her. I contacted Bad Numbers, and hopefully her number will be taken down soon. But it just goes to show, no matter what precautions you take, if you're using your home phone or your mobile phone, chances are the scammer is going to find you. So, what do? Well, you'll notice that nearly all scam baiters, we use an internet phone system, and the majority of us use FireRTC or Skype. FireRTC is a really good system, and it works very well, but it has its limitations. Skype also has its limitations and a couple of major problems. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to set up an account with FireRTC and how to use it to make calls. So first of all, we need to go to www.firertc.com. That's FireRTC.com, and you'll get this page. So to make a new account, we really just need to click on create an account, and we'll be presented with this sign up page. Now, you need to put in an email, but it needs to be a real email. You can't put in a fake one. The reason is that FireRTC will send you an email with a confirmation link, which you have to click in order to activate your account on FireRTC. They don't pass that information on except in specific circumstances that I'll talk about later. So you can quite happily give your normal ID. Okay, so I've populated the fields in the form. I've got a real email address, a username, and a password that I've duplicated, and then we just click on the sign up button. So what happens now is that within a minute or so, FireRTC will send an email to you to say confirm. Now you'll notice just in the bottom right hand of my screen there was an email that came in from FireRTC saying please confirm your email address. So I'll just show you what that looks like just now. Okay, so this is the email that they send you. It is welcome to FireRTC. It tells you which browsers it'll work with. It'll work with Chrome, Firefox, Opera. Not on Chrome, on iOS. It tells you that you'll need a speaker and a microphone. Now, one of these really cheap headsets work really well. You can buy them from the computer shops for a few dollars. Don't get an expensive one. They don't sound any better. We're only using telephone quality sound here. So my headset cost, I think it was about $5 on eBay. And you can plug that into the microphone and headset socket, and that works extremely well. It says while you make calls from FireRTC from anywhere, you can only call regular telephones in supported destinations. What they mean by that is you can only call phones that are in the US or Canada, or now I believe they've added the UK. There's some help with where to go and look for advice, and then finally there's a confirm your account button. Now if you click that, it'll activate your account on FireRTC. So I'm just going to click that just now, and that should take me to the FireRTC page, and it says my email has been successfully confirmed. Now don't worry about connecting a Google account. We can always do that later, so we'll click on the skip. We'll go past that. It says that we're using a compatible browser. I know that because I'm using Google Chrome. And it says you'll be asked to share your microphone and camera. Now you don't need to use a camera, so don't worry about that. So let's make a call, and there we go. This is the dialer, and it's a straightforward dialer. It couldn't be more simple. You'll notice here there's an address, nightmare@sip.firertc.com. Now we'll talk about that in the discussion we'll have about SIP phones in the next tutorial, so just remember that for now. It tells me that we're online, and we can just dial a number and make a call. So let's find a number. I have a whole list of numbers here that we can call, and I think we'll go with 1-800-745-6302, and then when you click on the green button to dial, you hear it ringing, and it says it was busy. Up here are the settings. Now the settings are quite important. Go to settings. Here's the important thing though. This is where you can set your caller ID. So if we want to change it, we can just, for example, change it from 112 to 121 or 131, and then you click on save, and it will say settings updated. To take effect, your phone needs to be reset. Okay, so then you can just click on here, go back to phone. It's resetting now, it's reinitializing. Okay, so we're signed back in, and we now have a new caller ID. I can't really demonstrate that for you, but believe me, it works. So once again, to type the number, and you'll find here there's a list of recently dialed numbers. That's the number that we dialed. So this is FireRTC, a very, very good system. Has a few bugs that are a bit annoying, but overall it works very well and is totally safe for you. That's the important thing. So what we're going to do now is have a look at Skype. Now in Windows 10, I believe Skype is already installed as part of the operating system, so you can probably skip the next step. However, some people like to download Skype anyway so that they have the official Skype version rather than the Windows version of it. When you go onto www.skype.com, you have two options. You can start a conversation, in which you can do it online without having to download anything, or you can download the Skype app itself. Now my advice is to download Skype. It's not a very big file, and it'll be easier. You won't have to keep messing around. So if you just click on download, and it'll take you to a choice page where you can decide which version of Skype you want to use. Now Obviously there are Skypes for mobiles, tablets, Xbox, but in this case we're using a computer. And it's telling me that Skype's already installed. I know that. It's fairly straightforward. If you're using a Mac or Linux, you can download there. So I'm just going to click on download, and Skype has actually now begun to download down here. And from then on it's really quite simple. We basically just double click the Skype app and install it. So the Skype app has downloaded, and down here in the bottom left hand corner I'm going to double click it, and it's going to ask me if I want to allow this app to make changes. I'll say yes in this case. Now take away all these choices unless you really want to mess up your search engines. And now it's updating my Skype to the new version from the Windows version. And that is Skype running. Now it's running on a different screen, so I'll just pull it across. Just hold on a second. Now when you first open Skype, you'll be presented with a sign-in screen. And at this sign-in screen you'll have several options. If you already have an account, you can enter it here and then just go to next, or you can just click on create an account. And if you do that, it'll take you to the next page where you can start entering your details. The create account form requires a country code, and it defaults to your location, a phone number and a password, or you can use your email instead. So I'm going to click on that option, and here we can put in an email address. So I'm going to put in one of my throwaway email addresses. Now it is an actual email address, but don't bother trying to email me on it because it just goes immediately to the bin. Nothing gets read off this email address. I just use it for sending emails occasionally. And I'm going to generate a password which I think will be straightforward. I don't want them to send me anything. If you want, you can get a new email address, and when you click on next, they need some more information. So they need some more, which is, that's that. Next. Now here's where it gets awkward. They're going to send a code to my email address, so let me just disable the dump to bin feature, and I'll come back with you just a second. Okay, so I disabled the dump to bin feature, and here you can see that they've sent me an email address and I have to use this security code 2710. So here I put the code in. It was 2710, and click on next. Notice here, and warning, Skype cannot be used for emergency calling. In other words, you're not allowed to use it to dial the emergency services for any reason. It'll simply say you can't use this phone because it can't be geographically traced. So I've clicked on next, and Skype is signing in. Now a couple of more things to do. We can check a sound and video to make sure we'll be able to hear. So we'll click on. So clicked on continue. There's a test sound button for the speakers. That's the sort of sound it makes. And as I'm talking, you can see the green bar rising up and down. I do actually have a webcam. I very rarely use it. I've turned it round. I can't dare show my face. There are too many people after me to be able to do that. So I'm going to click on continue. Asking me if I want to add a profile picture. I'll decide to do that later. It's not important. And now you're all set up and ready to add your friends, and we can start using Skype. So let me just whiz out of the screen a little bit. There we go. This is the Skype page. Here we have a home button. Here we have the dialer. This is to add people to calls or create a new conversation. And there's a new bot, and that's something we don't need to talk about. The first thing to do is try the call testing service, so we'll try that. Give that a call.
Hello, welcome to Skype call testing service. After the beep, please record a message. Afterwards, your message will be played back to you.
Testing, this is Nightmare on Scam Street, testing Skype setup. Testing, this is Nightmare on Scam Street, testing Skype.
If you are able to hear your own voice...
Okay, so that works fine. So we know now that Skype is working, and we can use it to start making calls. So we click on the dialer button, we choose the country that we want to call, and this is going to be United States, US, and then we can type in a number to call, and we'll use our standby test number, which we know is going to say is the wrong number. That's the number in, press call, and it failed straight away. Now the reason it failed is because that number's been switched off, and I'm fairly certain that they're not accepting calls from Skype. So there you go, that's how we use Skype. If you make a call to somebody and you find that it's a useful number to keep, click on Add to Contacts and make a note of it immediately. Otherwise, believe me, you'll forget. And after you've been scam baiting for a little while, you'll have so many numbers written on so many bits of paper that you won't know who's who. So if you start off the right way and keep things neat and tidy, trust me, it'll pay benefits really soon. So that's a quick overview of Skype. So we'll just talk about the problems with Skype now. Skype has an issue with the caller ID. It always comes out in Bakersfield and in California, and most scammers know this. So a lot of scammers will know immediately when they're being phoned by a Skype number. Sometimes you can con them by saying that you're in a hotel or out at work or something like that. Some people just lie and say that their home phone doesn't call these numbers. A lot of the time the scammers don't really care too much and they don't notice. With FireRTC you can change the caller ID, and that's a big advantage. A huge advantage that Skype has is that you can actually add lots of people to one call. So you can make your call using your dial pad as normal. Here's the add button. If you click on there, add people to this call, you can add people that are in your contacts list, or type a number in there and then add it. So there you go, that's Skype. Hope you found that slightly useful. We've talked about FireRTC and we've talked about Skype. I just want to say a few words about using Skype and FireRTC sensibly. Calling scammers is all very well, but if you start using Skype or FireRTC to call the emergency services or making a nuisance of yourself, you'll get this happening. What will happen is the authorities will go to the Skype or FireRTC, they'll give them the record of the call, FireRTC or Skype will provide your IP address, and that call will be traced back to you. So be careful, don't abuse it. As a serious warning, abusing Skype or FireRTC can result in really dire consequences, and you really don't want them. And in the next lesson we'll be talking about SIP phones, SIP phones, and what they can do for you. So I look forward to seeing you then. Thanks for watching.